Ben and Gwen had decided that it's best they just use the supplies that are on the ship. That way they wouldn't cut into the colony's supply given how small the setup was. If it were the entire planet, that would be different, but a small place like that, no. They helped out how and where they could, and the colony system began warning about an oncoming storm. Before the storm began, Gwen cast a magical barrier around the colony, with Ben going outside the colony walls along with Kevin, though they were still inside the bubble. They then watched for where the creature may attack from, having climbed up to the top of the colony's dome, so that they could watch from all sides. Watching for whatever was to come, they began to notice the storm approaching along with something that could barely be made out inside of it. He hit the Omnitrix, changing into Diamond Head and creating a barrier of crystals around the colony and around the outside of the magic barrier. Ben creating a sword out of the diamonds from his hand and tossing it to Kevin, who absorbed it and making it into armor, coating his body as he held the sword up ready for a fight, with Ben making a second sword. They continued watching as the storm had come over them and the colony, as something had come into contact from the crystals outside Gwen's magic. They heard the creature let out a piercing screech and tried to attack them as the two jumped off the colony, and Ben used the crystals to launch himself and Kevin, telling Gwen to drop the shield and once outside throw it back up. They were able to get up close and personal with the creature as they began cutting at it with the blades, as it continued to let out strange cries. The two of them didn't let up as they kept attacking until it started to retreat from them, burrowing underground as the two dove after it to chase it back to wherever it was hiding from. It had gotten too dark to see very fast, and Ben hit the Omnitrix symbol, changing from Diamond Head to Atomics, and focused energy in his suit to allow him to glow and lead the way around. They'd found the tunnel led off into different directions, but decided the best thing for now was straight line until they couldn't anymore. Atomics closed off the extra pathways so that there would be only one way in and one way out, cutting off the route of whatever they were chasing down. Continuing further, they found a chasm opening that had glowing moss that allowed them to see inside of it, and they noticed the stuff they had been taken from the colony, along with the creature that was now able to be seen and identified. Ben actually recognizes that thing and questions what an Obdurian worm was doing there. Those weren't native to Saturn, to which Kevin doesn't really know either, as they hear something that sounded like a laughing maybe, as they see something moving around in the pile, and they decide to get a closer look at what was going on. Moving over, they see some strange person that was a Lepidopteran, or stinkfly species. What they were doing on Saturn, that was also a mystery. The two watched quietly as they were talking to themselves, going through the stuff that was there to see if there was anything that would be of use to whatever crazy thing they were doing. Ben tells Kevin to cover them as he went over to speak with the Lepidopteran, as he cleared his throat to get their attention, causing them to freak out, saying "mine" over and over again, and Ben sighed before telling them to calm down. He's just there to ask them some questions, and would rather not bite them if they could avoid it. From the way they spoke, it was clear the Lepidopteran was crazy, as they'd asked, "No, take mine?" To which Ben says that he wasn't going to take anything, and then suggested they start with a simple first question: what is their name? With them answering, "Cook is yes. Kook is what called Kook?" Raising an eyebrow in response, he asked Kook how long they had actually been there, to which Kook responded in their crazy way that it was many years they were there, fresh from metamorphosis from larva. He questions how they got there next, and they explained that they were on a ship with their parents, but they flew too close and went down. Parents not make it, just Kook and Razzle. Ben questioned Razzle, and in response, they gesture to the Obdurian worm. Ben tells them that Razzle had been attacking the colony, and Kook says Kook knows. Kook send. They then demand to know why, and Kook says that they steal Kook planet. Kook own everything. Kook's planet. Ben sighed and explained that he couldn't take possession of an entire planet just by claiming he owns it. There's proper procedural efforts that need to go into it. They question that, saying, "Not Kook planet?" To which Ben says that's right. They don't simply own it because they crashed here and lived for years. He's not native and has no rights to simply take what he wants here. Kook looked confused, but Ben tells them that they have to return everything they took from the colony and stop attacking them. Kook then questioned, "Not thieves?" To which Ben sighed and explained that by having Razzle take stuff from the colony and attack them, that made him and Razzle the thief, and that it actually made them worse as they were bandits or pirates because a thief will simply take something without trying to hurt anyone. What Ben said seemed to trigger something as Cook blinked before shaking their head wildly as we see flashback images of how their ship was taken down and why they were too close. They were being chased by space pirates who were blasting at them, which damaged the engine, causing their ship to crash. The Lepidopteran began to apologize immediately, saying, "They not pirates, they not pirates. They return everything taken from colony." Sighing, Ben says that they should start returning everything immediately, and they nodded, apologizing again and again. Ben tells him not to apologize to him, but to the colony, to which they nodded. Ben waved Kevin over, telling them to start with him. He's the plumber in charge for the colony. They immediately begin to apologize to Kevin, telling them Cook not bad, Cook not pirate. I basically started grabbing whatever he could and shoving it over to Kevin, saying they return everything. This just caused Kevin to look confused by what was going on, but asked if they could get their big friend to help return everything. Razzle shot up out of the ground in front of the colony and began putting everything they'd taken back in front of them. Ben offered to give them a ride back to their home planet and the colony, but Cook says no, they stay, help new colony, instead attack them. Shrugging, he figured that was alright then and spoke to the leader. Jarlin agreed to let them stay, but they would stop taking things without permission, and Razzle would no longer attack the colony. Cook says, "Razzle protect now, no attack," and they nod in response to them. Ruta smacks Kevin for disappearing like that without them knowing anything that was going to happen, saying that for all she knew, he could have died in there. Ben and Gwen laughed, and Gwen says that, as Grandpa Max would say, seems Kevin has himself a Spitfire, and he agreed in response to that. They were able to enjoy the rest of their time there, but then decided to head on off again after a few more days to see more of the universe and what all it has to offer, and help out more if needed.